I wanted to do several short 5-minute key point things that are important. And the first one that I want to do is in terms of files and organization. Okay? Um, it's important. You'll accumulate a great deal of digital stuff and you need to organize it. So students in UCC have access to Google Drive because your email system is based on Google, so you have some storage space on Google Drive and you can use that. This is my Google Drive, so I've got a bunch of folders. It's not my primary online storage, but there are certain principles that apply here that apply elsewhere, and one of them is, of course, that I put numbers in front of the folders. Mostly I put a 00, as you can see here, in front of the important folders that I want to appear on top of the list when I sort by name. And then the ones that are less important farther down, and there's ones that are shared with me, obviously. So that's how that works. Regardless of what you do, if you're on the university student email, you have access to Google Drive and a certain amount of space there. Probably enough space for your average undergraduate or postgrad degree, unless you're doing PhD, in which case you need more storage. If you're living in the Microsoft universe and you have Office 365 and you paid for access to that, you have access to OneDrive. Works on the same principle. My choice that I committed to was Dropbox. I looked at them and I decided that this was where I was going several years ago, so I pay premium for a terabyte of storage on Dropbox. All of these tools are available across all of the devices. This is the first requirement for an online cloud storage tool. It must be available on everything. So it's on my iPad. I have Dropbox on my iPad. I even have Dropbox on my phone. Right? I also have it on several computers. It's on the computer in my office in the university. It's on the other computer downstairs that is an old, tired machine that is just about working as a printer driver, but it also synchronizes and backs up all of this. So that means my stuff is in several places. And this is there's two critical things about files and online storage. One is organization and the other is backup, right? Organization, as you can see, again, I use the whole 00 gadget, and then farther down I have ones. And then in the root directory of my Dropbox, I have some other stuff, which not necessarily all of which belongs there. This, for instance, used to have a 00 because it was a big event that I was organizing, and then when it's no longer relevant, I edit the file name of the directory, take away the 00, and it falls down, and I can find it there. There's all my gaming stuff. Again, you see the stuff that's in my particular gaming setup is there, and my Waterdeep game and my WorldCon games are at the top of the list. And up here, my teaching is 000, teaching courses, so that my teaching is on top of the list in alphabetical and sort order when you sort it. And my digital humanities classes are on top of that, and for each class there's a folder. So this is my prime undergraduate course, and within these there's last year's 1919 to 2020. There's this year's folder, not so much in that, a lot more video, because we're doing a lot more video this year. This is 2 years ago. Again, this used to have a 00, but it doesn't need it anymore, so I just let it fall down, and that will eventually be dragged off to somewhere in the BADHIT general folder, where there's an archive of old stuff. So within this, and as you can see, DH1003, there's two sets of subfolders for particular topics. So particular topics that I deal with in the course are there, and it's the same for every course. Here, 2005, I've kept the archives going back quite a few more years, right? So that stuff is there, and I can access it anywhere. In order to destroy this archive of my stuff, which is organized so I can find things quickly, You would have to destroy this computer, the computer downstairs, theoretically the one in my office, all my mobile devices, and all of Dropbox's huge corporate data centers with their multiply redundant backup plans, because the reason I'm paying them money is because they are a large corporation and they have a business continuity plan. So they're not going to disappear. And the other part, of course, is this, which is a good old-fashioned external hard drive. Because what happens if you lose internet connectivity? Most of these files that I need are on the MacBook, so I can lose internet connectivity and it's not a huge problem. What I do on a regular basis, using the backup machine downstairs, is I plug this in, I copy the entirety of my cloud backup material onto this. And then I take this, because right now it's in the same building as my prime working machine, and my primary backup machine. So I take this and I walk across the yard and I put it in my other storage office in the barn. If an asteroid strikes, my hill, then both of these will be destroyed. But as long as this is not in the same building as this, I have a backup. It's not entirely current, but it's there. And you have to think, in this day and age when the internet is under so much more strain and so much more work, and your broadband is perhaps less reliable than you want, you do need to make sure that you do have an off-site backup and it's somewhere physically in a different building. Consider what would happen if you're going to the shop and you leave all your tech devices in your house. You walk around the corner to the shop, you buy yourself, I don't know, some sort of chocolate bar, and as you're coming back around the corner, suddenly the gas main in your house explodes and every digital device you own is gone. You have to ask the question, how long will it take you to be online and working again? Imagine that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you have a 5 o'clock deadline. Can you get back on to meet that deadline? And unless you're doing some very specialist work that requires high-end video editing software or something, once you get to the phone shop and buy a cheap phone, you can connect again to your online data storage and get at the material you need. And as long as all you need to do is some sort of basic reading stuff or text editing, you should be able to get back into productivity, depending on how close the phone shop is, almost immediately. So you need to think about that. You need to think about two things: how you organize your files and how you structure stuff so that all the things you need are easily organized so you can find them. Look at my desktop. There's all of, that stays on the desktop. That's the term dates. These are some screenshots I'm using at the moment. There's nothing else on my desktop. That's it. And really, this is a bit excessive. These shouldn't be there. So it's a question of organization and tidiness. Having stuff backed up, having offline backups, and being able to get at your online stuff quickly, and having thought through how you will deal with what they call business continuity. So you need to have thought about these things: the organization and the backup and the accessibility of your material. And this is important in this day and age.